Sponsored in part by Pediatric Associates of Dallas. Pediatric Associates of Dallas has been providing excellence in pediatric medicine since 1971. PAD has locations in Dallas and Plano and is now open 7 days a week because taking care of kids is what we do.
The following content is not intended as a substitute for professional legal advice, medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your attorney, advocate, physician, or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding any medical or educational concerns.
Hello and welcome to Empower Dyslexia podcast and show. I'm Rachel Chambers.
And I'm Stephen Yearout.
And we're here to help you be better partners in education. On this show, we talk about dyslexia and related disorders, research, policy at the state and federal level, and we talk to experts in the field, and interventions. And we also have people that have private, personal stories on the show. So thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoy the show. I think it's a really special show today. We're going to be going like coast to coast, everybody. Almost, not really, but we're trying.
Yeah, that's a good looking shirt you got on there.
Yeah, this one's in navy.
Yeah.
Yours too, in that nice green color.
But,
we're sporting our swag today.
Our swag.
We're swaggy.
That's right. Be sure to like and subscribe to us on Facebook and YouTube.
Yes.
As always, you can catch us on all of our favorite apps. Obviously, if you're watching us live, it's YouTube Live or Facebook Live, but our iHeartRadio and Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all these beautiful apps that we get our podcasts on.
Yeah.
So go out there, like us, subscribe, leave us a comment.
Yeah. Let us know if there's
Tell
a
us
topic.
how great our shirts are. Something.
Oh, and you can order these shorts.
Shirts.
We may have shorts. We could do shorts.
I could do shorts.
But if you want to order these shirts, let us know, and we can order one for you and send it out. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, okay. So the reason why we're wearing these shirts is because it's October. It's Dyslexia Awareness Month, and all month. So, the color is red for dyslexia.
Well, that's the reason why dyslexia is red on our logo.
Yes, exactly. So, but what we're asking for you guys to do, since it is Dyslexia Awareness Month, is to go down to your school board. They have meetings about once or twice a month, and go testify, like give a 1 to 3 minute testimony of, tell them about dyslexia.
Tell them about the
that it exists, for one.
Yeah.
Remind them.
Talk to them about dyslexia in their ISD and what is being done and what's not being done.
Or just your own personal experience with it, just so they know what's going on.
They can't fix it if they don't know.
Exactly.
And if they are doing the right stuff, you need to praise them for doing the right stuff.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Make sure that you do that. If you go down to your school board, all school board meetings are recorded. They should have a link to the video. Send us a link. We want to see your story. We want to see what's going on in the rest of the world in each of these ISDs.
And I would love to put like a montage of all these.
Yeah, put them all together.
Testimonies together and then show them to you guys. I would really love to do that. Use my little editing skills. They're not real great, but I would, give me a project. So anyways, make sure you guys go do that. I think it'd be cool. So today on the show, like I said, coast to coast, we are doing a Decoding Dyslexia show today. We're having 3 ladies on. One is in New Jersey. One is in Texas, of course, because that's where we're from. And we know a lot of decoding men and women that are in decoding. And then our last one, but not least, is in Nebraska. And we're going to try to do this every so often because the more people we meet, it's just, I think it's interesting. And so the basis of the show today is like, what is going on in your state?
Well, and the
Yeah.
important thing about decoding, although there's many support groups out there for dyslexia, decoding is in every state. There's
Yes.
a chapter, I guess it's called a chapter in every state.
Yeah.
There's a presence in every state.
And in, what do we say? What they
Military.
tell us? And DC.
Yeah.
Washington, DC, and the military has their own decoding as well. So that's 52.
Right. So we want to make
Yeah.
sure that we get a good look at what's going on in each state, because I mean we look through the lens of what it's like to be here in Texas, although we still have a pulse on what's going on in the rest of the country, but we like to hear what's going on in other states, because if we're not doing something that we need to be doing, then we need to start asking questions, and vice versa, right?
Yeah. It's
So-
like, ooh, what are y'all doing over there? Is it working? Oh, good. Okay, let's try to replicate that here. Or look what we're doing here. You
Right,
know, I
right.
mean, just share the knowledge.
Share the wealth.
Yeah. So our first guest is Liz Barnes, and she is from New Jersey, and she is actually one of the founding members of Decoding. And Decoding Dyslexia started in, Liz, do we have you on the phone yet? Because she could tell you a lot more about this.
Yes, I'm here.
There she is. So this is Liz Barnes from Decoding Dyslexia, New Jersey. I was just saying, Liz, you guys, you and a group of other, were they
Parents.
all? Yeah, parents. Man, I'm getting stuck, and Steven's going to like, schwap.
I keep saying, hey, us dads are getting left out of the picture here, because all we hear is about moms.
There is a dad from the original founding group. So there you go.
Yay. Okay.
We're out here.
So yes, you are here, and we are not. We love that you are. We can't do it. You know, we need moms and dads, always moms and dads. So tell us about just briefly, because I want to do a whole show about the history of decoding. But your birthday's coming up, and like, how old is Decoding now?
Decoding Dyslexia will be 8 years old on October 18th. And so it started back in 2011, and there was a small handful of parents. We happened to be going to a luncheon, an NCLD luncheon in New York City. And I knew some of the people. Actually, it was the dad that kind of knew everybody and invited a bunch of us. So there was those that I knew and those that didn't know. And we took a train up to the city to go to this luncheon. And we just started, as typically parents of dyslexic kids do, we start sharing our stories and realized how similar our stories were. And we were from all over the state. We were in, rural areas. We were in suburbans and some cities. And it was the same story and the same brick walls that we kept trying to get through. And by the time we got through that whole excursion and the lunch and the train ride back, we're like, somebody needs to do something. And why can't we be those somebodies? And I think the next day we launched our Facebook group, and a couple weeks later we had our first meeting in a local library that was reasonably convenient for where everybody could get to within an hour. And that kind of kicked us all off. We thought it was just going to be a little something we did in New Jersey. We didn't know if anybody would even pay attention, and it just kind of exploded.
Yeah, it gives me goosebumps.
People
really,
are paying attention.
Either that or the air conditioning came on. I'm not sure. But, I mean, really, you just saying that, like, and now it's all, like, within 8 years, it's in all 50 states, and plus DC and the military, and I mean, it's just taken off like wildfire. And it's grassroots. It's like by the people.
Yep.
So that's super
It
cool.
absolutely is purely grassroots. We actually do have 4 groups in Canada, and Bermuda joined in a few months ago. So
wow.
there are 57 groups then.
Wow. I just sounded like, wow, Woodsy.
So what's going on in Nebraska? What's going on in New Jersey? New Jersey. What's the lay of the land there when we're talking about dyslexia, the good, the bad, and the ugly? What's going on this year?
Well, we're actively trying to get people to do things on the local level. Back in 2013, 2014, we passed 3 dyslexia-related laws. And
Oh,
Hold on,
lagging.
hold on, you
Stand
broke
by.
up. So I'll take this time to say, yes, fathers, please get out there and be
Yeah.
more visible.
Yeah.
We need more dads out here
And
showing
there you go.
support.
Yeah.
So you were breaking up. Sorry, so I was filling time.
yeah.
So Liz,
I
you were
appreciate that.
saying the things that you had started doing this year.
So
Right. Yeah. So like we have these dyslexia laws. We also helped to get a dyslexia handbook put together here in New Jersey, and that launched in 2017. So a lot of what we've been doing since all of that took place is trying to help stakeholders and parents and educators to actually execute the laws that were passed. And we have over 600 school districts in New Jersey, so there's a lot of pieces. And, so we were hearing from parents and educators that the laws are, nice we have the laws, but they're not always being followed. But so, we try to see what we can do to help give resources, because we see Decoding Dyslexia as being able to help point people in the direction of resources and tools so that they can be empowered to help themselves and help the cause. So we do a lot of workshops around the state. We'll do a few bigger events during the year or once a year that draws in from the whole state. But we try to really get down to the local level, because that's where change really is going to take place. And we'll do workshops as simple as we call it a Dyslexia 101. Parents will say, how do I do something here? And we will team up with them and say, find a venue and help spread the word. We'll put together a flyer, we'll push it out on social media, and we'll try to help you find a speaker to come talk about the basics of decoding, or basics of dyslexia. We've done some other workshops where we're really trying to start educating people on how to utilize the handbook. It was a really, really good handbook. It took about 2 years to put together, and we're very proud of it. In fact, I do believe other states have been using ours as a guide to launch some handbooks in their states. So like even this summer, we ran a contest on Facebook to try to inspire people to use the handbook as their summer reading. And every week I would try to post, all right, look for these things, kind of like a scavenger hunt about, find these items in the handbook and try to get people to read it and share it. And we got a lot of good reaction from that. We do know that there are some schools in the state that are doing a great job. They're screening all of their kids, K through third, or at least screening all the kindergartners. There's some schools that have done aggressive Orton Gillingham based training of their teachers, but we have a lot of work to do. And so that's, we collaborate with a lot of our other dyslexia related groups. So there's an LDA New Jersey conference in the end of the month, and we're co-sponsoring them and putting on a session at their conference. And we'll do a lot of things like that. We really like to work on the state level and the local levels. We constantly are getting emails from parents directly or through Facebook Messenger, trying to look for some direction on helping their own circumstance. And, and we share the knowledge that we have and our experiences and experiences of others. Where we say we're not the professionals, but we have lived it. And we'll, trying, the whole purpose, I would say, when we really started Decoding Dyslexia, is to shorten that knowledge gap for the parents. How many different ways can you Google dyslexia, as we did back in the beginning, and find your people? And with the way things have evolved, I think a lot of it has been Decoding Dyslexia. There are so many dyslexia support groups on Facebook. I've even lost count, and it's amazing, and it's so humbling and so inspiring.
One of the mottos, or motto, what is it? Educate, advocate, legislate.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That we talked about, and I couldn't agree with that more, because you need to do it in that order. Mm-hmm. If you don't educate yourself about it, you're not going to be able to properly advocate. And if you can't do that, you're definitely not going to be able to go sit down in front of our legislators and be able to get them to understand what we're asking for.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And a big powerful tool is to tell your story. And whenever you can bring your kids, if your kids are willing to share a little bit about their stories, that makes a huge impact on making it real for the policymakers and getting them on board. And as you were mentioning about school board meetings, whenever you hear stories.
I love
Yes,
Skype.
go to your school board meeting.
Yeah.
Talk to them early and
Oh,
often.
there you go. Back again.
Oh, there she is again. Yeah.
Get them to understand your
Yep,
story.
I'm back.
And
Yeah.
that's the thing. They can't tell you that you're wrong because it's your story,
Yeah.
right? It's
Right.
what you're going through.
Exactly.
It's what your children are going through. Get them to understand because they're not there every day. They're not living it. You are. Be collaborative. Be able to work with
Yes.
them. Go in
Yes,
with the mindset that you're going to help them understand what you're going through in their school system. That way we can try to fix it if it needs to be fixed. So
Exactly. We always.
Well,
well, Liz, I don't know if you can still hear me or not.
Right.
We're having breakup.
Yes,
She's
yes,
back.
okay.
Okay,
We're
there
at-
you go.
so-
Is there sorry, is there any ask that you personally in New Jersey need from the public?
yeah.
We need them to keep talking about it. We need them to, as you're saying, go to your school districts, contact your local and state policymakers, and let them know that this is real and there are solutions, and and that we're not looking to try to just stir up trouble. We're looking to find the answers, to level the playing field, so that our bright dyslexic children can be a part of the future and really make a difference and not feel shut down and and stupid, which sadly still happens. You would think this number of years of research, yet it still comes down to that on a day-to-day basis for so many families, and that's just tragic.
It is.
So you've passed some new laws, and you've now put in place a dyslexia handbook. So
Y'all are moving right
I'm
along.
just kind of recapping. One of the things that we need in New Jersey, especially, is parents to, and this is something that I do personally. In Texas, we have a handbook also. I printed the handbook out and I've got it inside my 504 folder. Whenever I go into meetings, I've got it there. I've got it highlighted. So if somebody tells me something that doesn't sound quite right, I go back to the handbook and I read in that section and either say, yes, yeah, that's correct, or no, it's not. But I got to be able to have that handy whenever we're in those meetings.
It's a good guide.
So it's a good tool to have.
Exactly.
Please read it, highlight it, understand your rights, so you can advocate for your child. And then the other ask really is to get out there and continue this awareness.
Well, and guys, join your Decoding Dyslexia groups, your local and state groups, and volunteer if you have time.
Even if you
have
don't.
time,
Even if you don't make time.
make time. That's how it works. That's how differences get solved.
So Liz, is there anything else that we need to know from New Jersey?
Well, like you were saying, we really encourage the parents, that they should bring the handbook into their meetings. And in the handbook, there are a lot of checklists, which is a really great way that if say, an intervention is recommended, that the parent could say, oh, great. So let's look at our checklist to see, does your recommendation match up to these state recommendations? And it just gives the parents some tools and some authority, that they're not just talking off the top of their head, that this has been sent down by the state of New Jersey. So that is a very powerful position, and I think there are a lot of educators that haven't gotten the education in their college years, so they're trying to educate themselves. And so often, we say it's not, we're not looking to blame anybody in particular. There's a knowledge gap, and we're trying to close that gap.
Yeah,
Sure.
we know that people make mistakes, as long as we acknowledge those mistakes and move forward, and we're trying to fix them.
And try to fix them.
So if you have any questions, you're in New Jersey or any of the states that have a dyslexia handbook now, if you have any questions about the the wording or understanding the handbook, please reach out to some of your local chapters and ask for help, truly understanding what it is that they're saying. Because sometimes it can be daunting to understand exactly what it is. But please reach out to Liz if you're in New Jersey, and let's keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Liz, I appreciate you coming on, and thank you for all that you're doing there. And I mean, thank you for taking that first action, right? That first step.
Really,
8 years ago, you and the other parents to create this.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
this was
super cool. Super cool.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate you inviting me on the show.
You bet. We
Thanks.
hope to have you back soon.
All right, will do. No problem.
Okay. All right. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Okay.
Alrighty,
Bye.
bye-bye.
All right. Cool. She's so awesome.
Yeah, I can't say enough how important it is for you to know your handbook backwards and forwards.
Yeah.
Because there is an education gap there. I mean, there is people that truly don't understand on all sides, right? The parents, the administrators, the teachers, they don't truly understand what laws have been passed and what those really mean.
Right.
Some of them do, but I mean, there's a lot that don't. And
Well-
and we're not going, like Liz said, we're not going at this to be right and you know, I'm coming at you like this. I'm trying to help educate
Yeah.
also.
A partnership.
Yeah.
Partnership.
Hey,
Work together. Work together.
being a partner in education?
Being a partner in
Wow.
education.
I think I've heard that somewhere before.
Ziggy, are we getting Clarice up? Queued up?
She'll be on in just a second.
Okay. Cool.
So now we're going to go to Nebraska.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I'm curious to see what's going on in Nebraska.
absolutely.
I wonder what the weather's like.
I don't
I
know.
wonder if it's cold out there yet.
It's finally.
It's still 90 here.
Yeah, it's finally not
it's
the surface of the
nuts.
sun here in Dallas.
I mean, God, what a crazy summer we've had. I feel like all of September I was out there just roasting, like baking during football games.
I know this has nothing to do with dyslexia, but yeah. I mean,
It's
that's-
just been remarkably hot.
I mean, for the last, 20 days, it's been stupid.
I mean, you sit in these metal bleachers, right? And there's no grass because we're in the city. And it's just, you feel like you're in an oven.
You are. You're being cooked.
And those poor kids out there with all those helmets and pads and ugh. But they're good. They're good. It's been fun.
All right.
I think my son should start playing hockey though. At least that's air conditioned.
I'm calling out.
Nothing yet?
Nope.
Should we?
And Clarice, I believe, is watching the show. So Clarice, please pick up the phone.
Yes.
Your phone is ringing.
Well, why don't we go to events? Let's talk about some upcoming events, shall we?
We shall.
Okay, let's get to that little page, our little cheat sheet here. Okay, so, of course, I
This-
don't know if Ziggy's going to be able to pull it up and try to get
I'm
Clarice
working
at
on
the
it.
same
Yep.
time,
Yeah.
but that's okay. So go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, I'll go ahead. So this Saturday at Region 10, which is the Region 10 is the Education Service Center, and Texas has like 15 of them.
No, it's more than that. It's
20,
20 something.
30, I don't know. They're all about education in this state because it's so big. But anyways, Region 10 is the one that's located here in Dallas, and it's on Abrams, kind of like in the Richardson ISD area. Anyways, they're having this lovely conference from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the keynote speaker is Russell Lehman, and he's supposed to be fantastic.
Yeah,
Let me
I've
tell
heard
you.
really good things about him.
Here's a little bit about him. Their keynote speaker, Russell Lehman, he's an award-winning and international recognized motivational speaker, poet, author, and advocate. His goals are to erase the stigma and stereotypes that have with having a disability, to make this world a better place by spreading hope, compassion, awareness, acceptance, belief, and tolerance. I just think that's lovely. I mean, I'd really like to meet him sometime.
And they have some pretty,
You know,
they have some
maybe
really good,
he'll
yeah.
come on the show. I don't
Yeah.
know.
But
Maybe
we
can get him
we now have Clarice on the line.
to- Clarice.
All right.
Yeah.
Yay.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, lady. How are you this morning?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
Good. Glad I got connected.
Yeah, us too. Us too. Okay, so what's going on in Nebraska?
What is going on in Nebraska? Well, we had some exciting developments in 2018 in January. So we had a definition bill passed, I believe, in 2017. But in 2018, we got a real tangible bill passed that actually had some action with it. So this bill that was passed in January requires all school systems to screen students for characteristics of dyslexia. And if they have any of the characteristics of dyslexia after the screening, they are to provide a multisensory evidence-based approach to address it without requiring parents to have to get a medical diagnosis for it.
Oh.
So that's exciting. And then the second piece of the bill states that beginning in 2019, which just passed, the summer of 2019, that they would require colleges of education to provide dyslexia training for teachers that are coming out of colleges in the state of Nebraska, along with a technical assistance document.
Oh, wow. So they're offering a whole class now during their college days
They are working on it. I haven't heard what it is and is it happening currently, but I'm staying on the pulse of that to see what that looks like. But that's
good.
part of the bill.
So let me jump back to the screening law. We have one here in Texas called, I just completely blanked.
I don't know what it's called, but they are screening kids from K through 2.
I can't believe I just blanked on that.
Hey, it
My
happens.
dyslexia is acting up. Sorry. You said that if they show characteristics, of dyslexia, I'm just all kinds of messed up today.
It's okay.
That they immediately then go into evidence-based programming. So are they not doing this screening? Is it just a very small screening tool,
Like
or
the
are they
5-minute thing, or is it like
or is it a full-blown test?
Full evaluation for dyslexia?
Actually, I haven't seen concretely what they're doing. I think that they are attempting to try to put something together, but I have not physically seen or heard from any parent an actual screening that happened. The Nebraska Psychologists Association, they've come out with a miniature technical assistance document. So I know that they're making some movement toward that. I don't think that anything from what I know has come to fruition as of yet. But my assumption would be that it would be just like a miniature screener.
Okay.
And if the child shows any of the characteristics, then they would move towards providing an evidence-based program. Now, the issue that I have heard and am largely concerned about is that the curriculums that they are suggesting for students who have the characteristics of dyslexia are not evidence-based. They're not multisensory in the aspects of containing the essential components of reading and addressing dyslexia specifically. So that's a problem. And so I would want parents across the state of Nebraska to make sure that the curriculums that their schools are suggesting are actually appropriate for dyslexic students.
So parents need to go out and do their research then and say, okay, what are qualified, curriculum or interventions for dyslexia?
Well, we talked
It
about
sounds
that.
kind of weird because if they're not really identifying, they're just kind of screening, but not really identifying or diagnosing, then I don't know. That's just,
It's usually alarming.
Yeah.
And so while we have a bill, and we felt like we could celebrate that, and we can, the work is not done.
yeah.
And
Right.
now we have to hold the schools accountable to the bill and accountable for providing an appropriate method to address dyslexia.
Yeah.
Some of the names that have come up here locally that they are telling parents that they're going to use are Read 180, Sanpanel, which is something they've already used in the school system, which we absolutely know will not work for a dyslexic student. And so we have to make sure that we are holding them to the law, utilizing our dyslexia handbook, which was written and put into action in 2016. And it's on the Nebraska Department of Education website. You can get that, download that, print that. Make sure you have that tool I would also suggest that there's a dyslexia in the classroom document that the International Dyslexia Association just recently came out with, what every teacher should know. I think that's a valuable document for parents to bring with them as well. And utilizing that What Works Clearinghouse. If you just Google What Works Clearinghouse, put in whatever reading program your school is trying to use with your child who is dyslexic to see, does that program actually meet randomized control trial standards? Does it have any evidence that it helps with a child who has dyslexia? And if it does not, then that is not an appropriate program. And progress monitor. Make sure that you are monitoring whether your child is in special education or in regular education at progress report time. Make sure that your child is making progress.
Absolutely.
Adequate yearly progress.
That is good advice.
Can't echo it enough.
So we're almost running out of time with you, and I hate this, but I do want you to talk to our viewers about this. Now, you did some work with the school pipeline to prison. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I was blown away on the phone the other day.
Yeah, there are some alarming statistics nationally that says that 85% of all juveniles who are in the detention center are functionally illiterate. We're talking about 85% of them. And so we can conclude 60% of them probably have dyslexia. So I did a pilot program here locally with our detention center, and I worked with some boys that were in there for a number of different reasons. And these young men who otherwise are known for gang activity, violent behavior, skipping school, all of that, became little boys in my presence when I began to work with them and show them a way that was different from anything they've ever been taught in school. And these young men really became very agreeable. They were sounding out words, and they overall just want to learn how to read, write, and spell. Oh. And if we have ever thought about, which has been out for decades, that literacy and the criminal justice system, there's a huge correlation here. Mm-hmm. And if we address dyslexia, which is the most common reading problem, I know without a doubt the recidivism rate and the actual first-time offenders would drop significantly. So I'm very happy about the First Step Act, which addresses and puts dyslexia inside the prison system. But more importantly, we need to do something with our younger population, which is the detention centers, and help these young people, because this is not their best, and we can help them do better.
Well, we have the tools to do it. Let's do it.
Excuse me.
Absolutely.
And start young before they start making those bad choices. Teach these kids to read like kindergarten, first, second, not after they've messed up.
It's about options, right? So if you can't read and write, you don't feel good about yourself. You don't want to go to school. You don't want to feel stupid.
Right.
And you were talking about gangs. Well, who is standing there with open arms is this group of people that need bodies. Mm-hmm. And they're going to say, hey, I'm here for you. I love you. I care for you, whatever, where they're not feeling that from the places they should feel it from.
Right.
And they're so frustrated. And of course, when you're working with them, Clarice, that these kids just turn into little boys again, and they're getting what they really needed. Mm-hmm.
And you can see their innocence and just their heartfelt desire to want more, and to be in a position where they're understanding the way their brain processes language, what is being taught to them, and how it's changing them from the inside out. You can literally see that. I was seeing that right before me. And I just think it is an atrocity that it has gotten to this point, that these young people are where they are, and partly because of these issues. The gateway out of poverty is education. So we've got to ensure that these children are properly educated in the way that they learn.
Mm-hmm. I love the work that you're doing. I absolutely love the work that you're doing. And
so she talked about recidivism. Texas actually did another study on their pipeline to prison study that was done in '99. They did another one, I believe it was in 2006. That showed, I want to say it was like $7 million in savings just for teaching these kids how to read and recidivism.
Yeah.
I mean, duh. I don't know. Is it, I mean, come on, people.
We're going to pay for it on the back. We're going to pay for it on the front end or the back end. I'd rather pay
It's
for it
going
on
to
the
be
front end and
right.
have,
It's going to be more expensive on the back end. It's more expensive on the back end. Let's help these kids.
What's the saying? It's easier to fix to help them now than to fix a broken man.
Ah, for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Clarice,
one of the things that was so powerful that one of the young men said, and we were just talking, and they were sharing with me their experiences in school. And one young man said to me, he said, you know how I learned how to decipher between a B and a D? And I said, well, how did you? He said, because it confused me up until the 9th grade, until I became a blood. And he said, because I became a blood, which is a gang member, he said, I had to know the difference between a B and a D in order to spell it. And that's how I learned to spell the difference between B and D. And so even though what he was saying about the gang situation was not great, the fact that, all the way up until the 9th grade, he didn't know the difference between a B and a D because we failed him educationally. It's just heartbreaking.
It's no more, not on our watch. We're not going to allow it. We're not going to allow these kids just to get, pushed into this trap.
Yeah, the pipeline.
So Clarice, is there anything else that's going on in Nebraska that we need to know about real quick?
I would just say to anybody out there that's in Nebraska, make sure that your school is not trying to generalize dyslexia with a struggling reader, because I think a lot of the misunderstanding that's out there with staff, with administration, with the total school system that's trying to catch up and get this law really enacted, is that they're utilizing programs and methods that address struggling readers.
Right.
And they're using that as their platform to address dyslexia. And there is a difference. Yes, dyslexic students struggle to read, but there's a difference between that and what we need to do to provide services for dyslexic students.
Right.
Correct.
And I'll just throw this out there. None of us are up here blaming anybody.
Absolutely.
What we're asking for from here on out, what you do from here can be your fault. I said that the other day.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're not listening, if you're not willing to come together and be a partner in the education and helping these kids, then that can be your fault and you can wear that badge.
Step up.
But what we're wanting is to come together collaboratively and help our kids. That's what we're asking for. These are the words that I want people to hear. Help our kids.
Yes. And also know that all of us on this platform, on this call, are willing to help you do that. I have reached out to every school district here, and I've said, if you need any help, if you need any support, I'm more than willing to help you and to assist you to ensure that we give kids what they actually need.
Absolutely.
And I believe all of us have that intention. We are here to help you help them.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, thank you so much, Clarice. It was a pleasure to have you on the show. We'll have to have you back again. But continue the great work that you're doing out there. And I want to talk to you again just to find out more information on that.
Yeah, next season we're doing a whole series on pipeline to prison. So we'll have Clarice on.
I would love to come back.
Yes.
It's a huge passion of mine.
I can tell.
And so there will be more to come in Nebraska from me on this issue.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day.
Okay,
Thanks
you too.
for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so next we have...
All right, we're coming to the great state of Texas.
Oh, wait, sorry. The
That's
other rose
Oklahoma.
of Texas. Hey, no. Okay, so we have Ms. Robbi Cooper on the line. Were you able to reach out to her?
I'm calling out right now.
Awesome. Okay, and Robbi is... Oh, wait, I hear something.
I am on the line.
Yay! Hey, Robbi, how are you?
I'm great. And I will say, going after Clarice, that is a hard act to follow.
I know. She's awesome. They're both awesome.
Yeah.
But so are you. So
Yeah.
are you. And there's Miss Robbi right there with her young son at the Capitol. What were you guys doing that
Well, other than a martini, it looks like. We were
I didn't
actually,
even
that is
see
when
that.
my son Well, you know, we have to have some fun when we advocate. But
Yes.
we were actually there. That's when Ben was about 13 years old. He's now in college. And we were advocating, and he's been going up there since he was about 11 years old and speaking to Congress. And that particular trip, we were working on access to accommodations, and
Okay.
so it was something he was passionate about at the time and still is. But yeah,
Awesome.
so
Awesome. I love it.
I gotta say, Robbi is tireless in her
Oh, my
advocacy
goodness.
work there in Austin. I'm surprised that they haven't put a plaque up with her picture on it saying, "Here's Robbi.
Yeah.
She's here."
Yeah.
She's gonna
here
come
and
talk
she
to you.
or
knows-
watch out, here she comes. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
But I mean, you're always there. You're always talking to whoever will listen.
and you're so gracious about it too, you know, because it's hard sometimes to be always gracious and
I struggle
and
with
mind
that.
your manners. But Robbi, you
Well,
have
thank you.
such a good
Yeah, we try.
disposition and are courteous and kind. I mean, I've always seen that about you, and I know tempers can flare and everything because you're fighting for your children's education, which is not easy. So tell us what's going on in Texas.
Well, you know, I mean, there's a lot in Texas. So, you know, law-wise, we blow every state out of the water. We have had laws for over or close to 35 years for dyslexia, and we have more laws clearly than any other state. So, but recently, what our state did commit to in our school finance law, which is overhauled not very often, was specific funding per pupil for dyslexia. And that really is a big win for families and schools and everyone in our state, because as we know, substantial numbers of students, close to 20%, have dyslexia, and it is a cost. And so the funding, what's so exciting about the HB3 funding through the school finance bill is that the school's entitled to that funding in addition to special education funding. So there's always been funding for dyslexia under special education. Absolutely, it's always been there, and that funding is not limited. So it may be limited asking from the state to the feds, but as far as using funding as an excuse not to provide services, you cannot do that under special education. But HB3 gives funding for additional funding to schools for any child with dyslexia. They could have a 504 plan and get funding. And then if they have an IEP and they have dyslexia as well, that they would get just additional funding to the special education resources.
That is big.
Yeah, it's great.
It was a good year. This was a good session, I think.
It was, and I want to bring up, there's another law that was not specifically tied to dyslexia, but I am so excited about. I don't know if y'all are aware, but every single student with an IEP, which means they're a special ed kid, who graduates college, career, or military ready, the school gets a $2,000 bonus for that child.
Oh, I didn't know about that
to the
one.
school.
Wow.
It's incredible. So, like, the state of Texas is saying loud and clear that students with IEPs can and should be college and career ready. Absolutely. So we hear a lot of times it's totally disturbing that a parent will be going to request services for their child, and maybe they're requesting an IEP, and the school principal will be telling the parent that, are you sure if you get an IEP, your student will not have a regular diploma. They won't be able to go to college with that. They can't take honors or AP courses with an IEP. And so this funding makes it really clear that the state of Texas believes that's false, and it is false.
Oh my gosh! So you just armed parents in Texas with a big gun right there. I shouldn't say gun.
Yes,
but
well,
it's like
important to know.
Don't pigeonhole my kid. You know, give my kid the same general ed or even AP if they're gifted. That they can do it. I know they can do it.
Right.
You know, don't pigeonhole them.
Well,
and the state of Texas says so. Don't pigeonhole our kids. Wow. That's awesome.
Special ed is a service. It's not a place. Like, people need to
Exactly.
remember that it means they're services directed to enable your child to meet grade level expectations. It's not a placement where you're being shuffled off to some other area of the school. Unless it's something that you decide with your school is appropriate, then, but the essence of an IEP is strictly that it meets the educational needs of that student, and that student could have their needs met in an honors class. So, or an
course.
AP, there's lots of flexibility within an IEP. And so like our state is, we've got a lot of work to do, like all states do. It's really important that parents fully understand their rights. And I think that's, a lot of the stuff that I focus on with Decoding Dyslexia Texas is trying to ensure that parents are fully aware of what their rights really are. A lot of school district attorneys and attorneys that work on behalf of the school boards will give information to schools that to me is misleading, and encourages schools to give information to parents that kind of shuffles parents away from fully understanding their rights and exercising them.
Well,
So, yeah.
I mean, we know when you go into an ARD meeting or a 504 meeting, it can be very emotional. It can be very deer in headlights type, But what I'm going to say is make sure that if you're being told something, always ask for documentation that backs up what they're saying. That's not rude. Be very gracious when you're doing it, but you need to make sure that the information that you're being told is correct, number one, or something hasn't changed.
Like, what law told you that, my child, if they go to special ed, doesn't get to graduate with a certain diploma? Where does it
You want to
say
make sure that
that,
you understand the rules to the game. I say game. The rules
feels like a game sometimes.
Rules that you have to be in, the laws that protect you, so you can make sure that you're advocating correctly for your child to get the most support that they need. You're not asking for something just to ask for it. You're asking for something to make sure that your child can be successful.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We want that. They want that. They ultimately do want that.
Child Fine. That's the name. See?
Child Fine.
It took me that long.
So, Robbi, tell us about the upcoming Dyslexia Roadshow in Texas.
Oh my gosh, I'm super excited because we are partnering with Empower Dyslexia.
Yay.
Y'all are our partners in producing this roadshow, and it is all about providing parents and teachers and administrators and anybody that's interested in successful outcomes for students with dyslexia. We're calling it the Dyslexia Roadshow, Your Roadmap to Success. And it's a roadshow because this year we are doing it in 3 major Texas cities in April. So April 2020, the 4th is Dallas, the 18th in Austin, and the 25th in Houston. They're all Saturdays. And I'm super excited because Stephen and I have been really brainstorming on this, and we already have about 12 experts that have already approached us and are looking forward to speaking at events either regionally or throughout the 3 cities. So I mean, gosh, it's so exciting, and I just think parents and teachers and schools will get some amazing information on how to make things work more smoothly on the road for our kids to success.
Well, and Robbi, Steve and I, when we first started the show, we went down to the one in Austin. What was that one called? The Dyslexia Symposium, I think, or something like that. And met a lot of...
That was our second show.
Yeah, that was our second show, and we brought back the information from that. I mean, you had so many great people. And are you going to be doing like CEUs? I think that's what they call it for teachers, continuing units of education or something like that. Are you going to be offering that as well, or try to?
Absolutely. And I've already reached out to the TEA, and we're going to be setting up professional development. There's also our branch of the International Dyslexia Association, who we collaborate with as well. They're offering professional development at our conference. And so, yes, we're working on, between now and April, making sure that not only parents get the information that they need, but the teachers and administrators that now, because of Texas laws, I didn't mention this one, but Texas law now requires all teachers from K through 6 and principals to have professional development on dyslexia. Ooh. So this could, be a part of their professional development requirements. So we're super excited about that.
That's great. I didn't know that either.
Yeah,
that's good.
The event last year was really, really good. There was a ton of people there.
Yeah.
And
we had Pearson Clinical Division, who does a lot of our testing. So the tests that are given to our kids and the interpretation of those tests are really important. And so, we have a good working relationship with Pearson Clinical Division. And we will be, of course, asking them once again to lend their expertise to, helping parents in schools understand some of these tests and how to identify and support dyslexic students from the data within those sub-scores.
Excellent.
Well, this roadshow coming up is really exciting. So make sure that you tune in, and make sure that you look on either Decoding Dyslexia Texas or empowerdyslexia.info or our Facebook pages, and for more information on these.
Yeah. Sign up. Go.
Rachel and I will be attending these different cities, and.
I need to put it in my calendar.
I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I will.
Can't wait to meet, the people that are out there dealing with this every day. Parents and teachers and administrators. We really enjoy talking to all of y'all.
Yeah, we do. It's fun.
So is there
it helps.
Is there anything else that we need to know about Texas?
Well, there's a lot. So, I would just encourage people to reach out to Decoding Dyslexia Texas. We are here, like Liz and Clarice stated, we're here to support you and give you the tools so that you can be a better advocate for your child, and which is, why we love Empower Dyslexia so much, because we share a lot of the same goals in our outreach, and we're super excited to partner with y'all on our next, our last conference had over 600 people, and just in one city, and we're excited to share the journey now with parents with you guys as well. So, hey, thank you for having us on your show.
Yeah,
so reach out to us.
Yeah, well, thanks for
coming.
coming.
And our website is ddtx.org, and there'll be a lot of information there.
We'll put that up on our website and Facebook page.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you so much, Robbi. Thank you for the tireless work that you do all the time.
Yes, you're down there all the time. And thank you so much for coming on the show today. We enjoyed having you. I've been waiting to have you on the show, and I'm so glad it happened. So, okay, well, that is absolutely all the time we have today. And like we always like to say, if you feel like your child is struggling and at school and you just don't know why, go get your son or daughter tested. We have templates on our website. Go to www.empowerdyslexia.info, and you can grab a letter template there, put in your information, and send it into the school counselor and get the process started. You'll be glad that you did. Your son or daughter will be glad to know what's going on, and that they're not just stupid, and that there is hope and help out there for them. So,
it's the first step.
So do it.
It's the first step on your road.
It's the first
journey,
step.
right?
Yeah, it's finding out the information and then
moving forward.
Awesome. So thanks for tuning in today, guys. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.
See you there.